Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another video. I recently did a video tip on fishing umbrella rigs where I talked about this being one of the best things that I keep in my boat at all times. Now, in that umbrella rig video, I talked about how I use it, but the reality is I use so much of this throughout the course of a fishing season, and it is an invaluable tool for me. So I figured I would do a video talking about some of the ways that I love to apply this and why it's so important to me, because when I made that quick reference in the video regarding the umbrella rig, I had several people reach out to me and be like, "Well, what else do you use it for?" And I've talked about this before on the channel a little bit, so I figured I would tell you guys why you need to have this in your boat all year round.
Today's video is brought to you by the Deep Dive app. This has had an amazing new update. As you guys know, I love the water clarity feature. As you can see right here, we're looking at Grand Lake, which just had a whole pile of rain come into it. It went from being really clear to having a lot of dirty water coming in the bottom end of it. Just an amazing feature to be able to determine where the clear water is versus the muddy water. However, they just introduced the wind effects. Now, the wind effects is really cool because we've had wind effects as part of the app in the past, but all it did is show where the wind was hitting the shoreline the most, as you can see from the dots, the orange and bright red dots, which indicate where the wind is really striking. But now the wind feature also indicates what the wave action is like on the lake itself. So some of the features you're going to get from this is determining where to get from place to place safely by avoiding the heavy, rough water conditions. You'll be able to determine where you may have some of the strongest current flow and some of the places where you can fish to stay protected. Now, along with that, you still have some of my favorite features like the patterns that you've got on the lake that indicate the best baits and lures to fish with. You've also got the water inflow app, which shows you where a bunch of the rain input comes in. That can be an amazing pattern to fish throughout the year. Just a great feature to have. So many positive features anytime you're fishing or using the Deep Dive app. Just points you in the right direction to catch more fish. Whether you're a tournament angler or a local fun fisherman that's just out to catch a few fish, the Deep Dive app will help you catch more fish next time you're out on the water.
So let's just talk a little bit about the tubing itself. This is just basic 1/8 inch thick tubing. Now you can get a bunch of different sizes. I generally do carry a couple of different sizes. And the reason for that is I'm going to be using it for various different things. And the 1/8 inch size does not always work for everything that I want. So I do carry some a little bit bigger. And if you can find it, I also carry some that's a little bit smaller. Generally, if you want to get smaller than an 1/8 inch, you have to order it separately. You can go online, find it anywhere. You can get just straight surgical tubing. You can get generally any tubing that's used in like chemistry classes, things like that. You know, it's not any special tubing. The key here is it just needs to be tubing. Now, generally get it either online or I can get it at local hardware stores. Or if you're lucky enough to have a science store, when I used to live in Chicago, there was a really good science store that had not just tubing, but tons of stuff I actually used to use in bait making as well as with my fishing overall. But you can find it lots of different places. It's not that hard to find if you just spend a little bit of time. Like I said, the internet is great for it, but just 1/8 inch thick tubing. And let's talk about some of the reasons why it's so important to me. So, specifically in that video I did with regards to the umbrella rig, I talked about how you could use it to keep your line from getting caught in the bait. Now, this is something I started doing not because I thought of it for the umbrella rig, but because I knew guys were doing it with topwater baits like this prop bait. If you put a little 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch piece in front of the prop, when you cast, your line won't get caught on that prop. It's like it keeps it away from that prop. So it's a really good tip for that. And I do throw it with other topwater baits as well. It doesn't just have to be a prop bait, but if you want to use it on a popper cell bait, you can do that too. Really handy for that. Now, my ultimate reason why this is what I use it the most for is to cover up my hook. So if you're fishing any hook, any bait, you can cover up your baits, cover up your hooks to make them not weedless, but fishless. And the reason I do that is because I don't generally want to catch my fish in practice. I want to get the bite, I want to locate the fish, and a lot of times I have to do that by getting the bites, but I'd rather not catch the fish if I can avoid it. So I put a little piece of tubing on the hook like that. And it works so well. And you can do it on treble hook baits as well if you want. I generally, with treble hook baits, will actually rotate the hook in on itself so I can't hook the fish. But with your single hook baits, you can cover up the hook, spinner bait, swim jig, flipping jigs, Texas rigs, anything along those lines. It works great. Now, you can just have it rigged like that, but you can also bury the hook if you want so that you don't see any of the tubing. So you can actually go back and it's almost like you're skin hooking the bait. Let's see if I can tuck this guy in on itself. You can just push it in. So that's not a great job, but you can see I've got it buried. You can just see a little bit, but you can actually bury it into the bait, make it even more weedless. If you're concerned about potentially the fish seeing that tubing, you can basically remove it altogether. But this is, in my opinion, the best way to practice for tournaments if you're looking to shake fish off. It's just an absolute must have. It's something I do, like I said, with almost all of my single hook baits, and it is a huge, huge player for me. If you guys, if I'll go into tournament, I'll have like if I'm got a couple flipping baits, I'll have hitchhikers on with no hooks. I'll have tubing covering all the single hook baits, and then I'll have all my treble hooks rolled over. Practice is not generally fun for me in any tournaments. You catch a handful of fish, and that's usually about it. At least for me, I feel like that's the best thing to do. Another thing that I really like to do with the tubing is I'll just use it as a way to put my trailer hooks on. So in this case, I've just added a treble hook on the back of the spinner bait, and I'll put a small piece of tubing right there just to lock it in. So it's not going to move at all, but it's going to swing freely, and you can do that with your spinner baits. You can do it with any of your, vibrating jigs if that's something you're looking for. But it's just another great way to lock it in. Lots of different things you can do with your tubing to in my opinion, make it mandatory for you to carry in the boat. It's just an invaluable tool for me, something I've done for years, and I have yet to find things that are better than just some simple 1/8 inch tubing. So let me know, guys, if you've got little things like this that you think I should be carrying in the boat, let me know. Put it in the comment section. Otherwise, if you're not doing this already, I highly recommend you go get some, put it in your boat. You will not be unhappy with this move. And it costs like, I mean, this is you'll have a year's worth for like $2. It's super cheap. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate all the support. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Stay tuned. We'll have a new video coming out tomorrow.